Hi everyone, it's Tradewind here. Welcome to the video on YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about something that I don't hear very many community contributors or streamers talk about very often at all, and that is something called strategy. Now, when I say strategy, I mean strategy more in the business sense of the word. So in business, since I'm a supply chain management major, we talk about this in many of our classes in college. And in business, there are three levels of how you go about things. And it's strategy, tactics, and operations from highest scope to lowest scope. So basically what that means is strategy is a long-term plan for what you're doing, tactics is more of a short-term plan of what you're doing, and operations is the nuts and bolts of what you're actually doing. So, for instance, the Ibuki, I just purchased it. I went in and I paid the 200,000 silver to train Taro Sakuma halfway, and then I used Commander XP to get him the rest of the way retrained. That is something I would consider strategy. That is something that's not done in the heat of the moment. I'm in port. It doesn't matter. There's no enemies around. And even though it's a minor decision, it's strategic thinking. It's something I'm doing long term. This is going to affect many battles. The fact that I did that shortcuts possibly many hours of playtime out of this. And it's not a small decision. It's just a couple click of the buttons. Some people have done it automatically so many times that they don't understand what a huge impact it could have to somebody's game. And that's kind of what I want to do with the Ibuki here. I just bought her. I want to set her up, and I want to show you the kind of thinking I do to get it ready. So, with the strategy behind it, is I've never played the ship before, and I'm assuming it's similar to the Mogami, not as good as the Zhao, which I have tried before because the space battles are active, and the Zaya is a Zhao clone. So I kind of have an idea that it's going to be between the two. I don't know for sure because sometimes wargaming makes ship lines that don't make 100% sense. If you've ever played the Udaloi, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. The Udaloi is not the Grozavoy. You don't play it even close to similar to the Grozavoy, which is the tier 10. And it doesn't play anywhere close to the Ognavoy, which is the tier 8. It's a weird ship. So I don't know anything about the Ibuki, but I'm just going to assume that it's in between the Mogami and the Zhao, and try to set her up that way. Now, I have the resources to to change how I outfit her and everything later, so it's not, like, it could be a huge penalty if I'm wrong, absolutely, but it's not going to be a game-ending uninstall penalty, so I don't care that much. So, first thing I do, any ship, no matter what, is go in, switch it to 22,500 silver, which I understand that not everyone knows that's an option. I see it on Reddit all the time. They're like, oh my god, I can do it for not real money? Yes, you absolutely can. Always get the upgraded repair party for this ship, the upgraded damage control. Absolutely 100% not an option. Alright, so and now we will look at the other options for the ship. So this ship has a choice between defensive fire and hydroacoustic search. If it's anything like the Mogami and the Zhao, let's see what her values are. Those are not good. Alright, so this ship cannot shoot planes down very well. Since it's a tier 9, these are not good values. Not at all. 50, 73, 83. I'm afraid to take this into battle. I would love to take hydroacoustic search. Absolutely love it. But I don't want to be a sitting duck. Even though carrier games are relatively rare, if you run up against a carrier and they decide that they just want to kill you and you don't have defensive fire, you're done. Go back to port, 3-minute game. I hate those, so we're going with the defensive fire. Absolutely. I'm going premium on this as well. I want to be able to cycle through defensive fire as many times as possible. Now, here's the actual first choice for if you want to have premium or regular consumable, in my opinion. Okay, so I understand that silver can be an issue with some players. I'm on premium time, so it's not ever an issue. I will always pick Catapult Fighter 2, pay the 22,500 silver, not an issue with me. Now, if you are not on premium, I understand if you don't want to get the upgraded fighter. The other three are so integral to your survivability. You have to take the upgraded versions. You just have to. There's no option. It doesn't matter if you're a premium or non-premium player. The right choice, objectively, is to take the upgraded versions. That's how important they are. This one I could understand if you want to go Catapult Fighter 1. It's free. It doesn't make a huge impact to your gameplay. It hardly makes any impact to your gameplay. It can sometimes spot torpedoes for you. Rarely will it spot a destroyer for you, but if it's spotting a destroyer for you, that destroyer is probably not a very good player anyway, so he's probably not a huge concern. I would understand you taking the regular. That's fine. Always remember after you do this, click the enable auto resupply button. Cannot tell you how many times I've gone into battle and looked down and seen I had regular consumables, and I was like, oh man, I forgot to click the enable button. Happens to everyone. Please don't forget it. It's so annoying when you just run into a battle and then you get set on fire, for instance. You have to repair it and then you get set on fire again because of the extended cooldown. I will actually show you the difference in this. You can see right here, reload time 90 seconds, active for 5 seconds. Reload time 60 seconds, active for 5 seconds. So that's an extra 30 seconds of you being exposed to fire, flooding, damaged rudder, engine. You don't want to deal with that. Okay? Click the enable button. Alright, so for this, I generally, let's see, I know on the Hindenburg the spotting plane is good. Honestly, I've never looked at these values. I've never looked at the Ibuki at all, so I'm going through everything I would normally go through when outfitting a new ship. So this is what I want to show you guys. Even on the first module, normally I would just take main armaments mod 1, no problem. But I have a spotting aircraft mod 1, and I played it on the Hindenburg, and it is fantastic on the Hindenburg. I know I would have loved it on the Mogami if that was an option, but it wasn't. So, now we're going to look at this. Let's see, what kind of range do I have? I have 15 kilometers. Now I gotta remember, that's not necessarily the end-all be-all range I'm going to have. So, we're going to look at this. The hull B does not give us any range, so we look at fire control system. That does give us range. It puts us up to 16.5 in tier 9 games. So, I was at 15.7 with the Mogami, and that was not always comfortable. And bear in mind that in tier 8 games, you're going to be up tiered to tier 10. What feels like almost all the time. It's not actually all the time, but the times you're top tier, it's kick back, relax, grab a beer, have some fun with the opponents. So, like, those games kind of don't matter what you pick. It still does matter, of course, but you want to always think about when you're going to be in the worst possible position. So I'm going to build this ship assuming I'm always in tier 10 games, which is the worst possible thing for me. So, 16.5 firing range on the Ibuki. I don't know if that is good or bad. I know on the Mogami 15.7 was not the best, but it had excellent concealment, so you could work with it. So that's the first thing we're going to check out on this. Right now we have 11.1 kilometer after firing a secondary gun shell, 16.5 after firing main guns if we had the upgraded fire control, and when the ship is on fire, 13.1. So when the secondary guns are firing is the base detection rate. Seems to be a bug that they're having right now. It's just the normal detection rate if you're not shooting anything or not on fire is 11.1. Now we have to remember that the standard pick in this slot, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th slot, is always in every ship, except for very few instances, going to be Concealment System Mod 1. If anybody is telling you that Target Acquisition System Mod 1 is correct, they are wrong. It is never, ever, ever the correct pick. Ever. Now, the few exceptions to taking Concealment System would be on the ships that you take Steering Gears Mod 3, because there are a few ships that you want extra maneuverability. The Mogami has a build that I used that used the double rudder shift is what it's called, and Steering Gears Mod 3 is what you take. You sacrifice some concealment, but the Mogami had excellent concealment, so I was okay with it. So let's double check here. We do have Concealment Expert on this captain. It is active. So now I'm going to throw on Camouflage just to see. 10.8. Alright. So without Concealment Mod 1, I am not comfortable with that concealment on a cruiser of 16.5. So what I'm going to do is take Concealment System Mod 1. So we're going to mount that. Now we're at 10. So detectability range when throwing on camo should be around 9.7. With 16.5 gun range, I'm okay with that. Still not great. A lot of things could go wrong. But with spotter plane, 30% action time to spotter plane, and spotter plane is not even an option on the A hull, so it's going to be an option on the B hull. Good to know. And this is a perfect example of the kind of things you need to be thinking about, because I didn't even remember, because the way I do things is I always go through my consumables, make them premium first, and then go to upgrades. And because I had to think about what I was doing with the spotting aircraft and my choices with my main gun range and what it would upgrade to and concealment and all those things, because I had to think about all those things strategically pre-battle in the port, and I'm actively engaging looking at the ship's stats against one another. So I do that, and then I realize, hey, I don't even have the option to have spotting aircraft yet. Now, that may mean it's on the B hull, actually. I'm not exactly certain that it is going to be on the B hull. I don't remember if the ship has it. Not a big deal, but that kind of makes my decision a little bit easier. I'm going to go with Main Armaments Mod 1. And this is supposed to be the basic, easiest decision you'll make on the ship, and that's the thought process I went through. Now, I'm not going to go through that same exact thought process with every single module, because some of them are easier than others. Like this one, I generally, if it's not a destroyer that I really care about the steering or engine power, any cruiser, carrier, battleship, just take damage control mod 1. The bonuses on any of these aren't enough for me to care. and I like to not be on fire, not be flooding. That's a good thing, but in the end, not a huge deal. Okay, so third slot. Third slot is an important one as well. Very, very important. You could mess this up royally, cost yourself a lot of silver, a lot of heartache, get deleted a lot. There's a lot of things that could happen. Alright, so the options are turret traverse at the sacrifice of a little bit of reload time. AA gun, I think this is range on this one? Yes, AA gun range, which I don't even know what my range is. I didn't look at this. The values scared me, so I didn't even take a second to look at the range. Yeah, so let's see what the upgraded range is going to be. This is just awful, man. Alright, well, AA guns is not going to be an option. Secondary, I don't take on any cruiser. That's not even an option. So dispersion is generally a good thing to reduce, but cruisers, for the most part, have really good dispersion. So, and this one is 137 meters, so that's not a huge deal. So, really, I can tighten up my dispersion a little bit, which, as I said just now, I don't consider a big deal. Or I can increase my battery traverse speed by 15% and increase my loading time by 5%. Now, the 5% reload time is kind of negligible. The Japanese cruisers, however, have notoriously slow turrets, and if I want to play this ship a little bit like I did the Mogami, it's going to be more of a kiting cruiser, not a stationary cruiser. So there are times where it's not even a 180-degree turn you're doing on your turrets, it's more of a 270 turn almost. So I like having the turret speed. So even though I consider 26.9 seconds for 180-degree turn time pretty good for Japanese cruisers, especially, I want that faster. I really do. And we can mitigate the penalty we get, which that when it says that plus 5% to main battery loading time, it almost seems like a buff, but it's not. It's a little deceptive in that I kind of wish they would color code these, like the green being good, red being bad, because they do it in other places, and it would make things more clear and for players like me. I understand that the plus 5% to reload time is a nerf, and the 15% turret traverse is a buff. I understand that. A lot of players do, but some don't. So color coding it to make it click in the new player's mind, hey, this is a bad thing that's happening to your ship. And you're also getting a good thing that's happening to your ship. Not two good things, which, if you just glance at it, that's kind of what it looks like. I don't want that to be like that. I don't want new players to think that they're getting two good things and then actually get one good thing, one bad thing, because that may change their decision. Alright, so slot 4. We're looking at Damage Control System Mod 2. It's minus 15% to fire extinguishing and flooding recovery time each. Propulsion Mod 2. Increase engine power. Ship starts moving. That's generally only good on destroyers, I found. Cruisers and battleships and carriers just don't really have a need for it. So, taking that out. And steering gears Mod 2. Minus 20% to rudder shift time. Now, if I'm going to play this as a kiting cruiser, that is an automatic pick. 20% to rudder shift time is amazing, but I should still look at my maneuverability. Now I see maximum speed 35 knots. That is real quick for a cruiser at tier 9. I think the Donskoy is faster, maybe by half a knot. Other than that, most cruisers at tier 9 go like 30 to 32 or so. So she's real fast. Rudder shift time 9.5 seconds. That's not awful. But if we're talking shaving 20% off, that's pretty good. I'm gonna go with that because I like the kiting cruiser playstyle. You can see the rudder shift time drop to 7.6. Alright, so the Big Daddy expensive one, and you can see right up here I don't actually have the money for it. So if I want to play this ship soon, I can go to the inventory under your main menu, or what I call the main menu, I guess. I guess it's not technically the main menu. And I can look at things to sell. So, first thing I like to look at is the modules. And the things that will be listed here are things you're able to sell. So, by able to sell, I mean you can sell them without really hurting yourself. So when it says Iowa A, whole stock module, that means I have the B module already paid for and equipped on the Iowa. So let's take a look at the Iowa just to prove it to you. So there she is. And we see right here, Iowa, whole B, bought, paid for, equipped. So I can sell that. And we will. Get rid of it. Alright, so knowing that it's like that for all of them, now you can see the 203s are actually the upgraded guns on Mogami, and I bought them because I understood the general consensus on everybody was that the 155s or 152s, whatever gun size they were superior by far to the 203s. I still like trying them out. I like to get a feel for how things work myself, and I recommend you do that as well. You could find a lot of value in this video that you're watching right now, absolutely. But then you could go through and you tweak a few things that I say, and you're like, you know what? Actually, I didn't like the rudder shift. I liked the minus 15% to the fire recovery time and the flooding recovery time because I find myself in these situations more often. I understand Tradewind likes to kite. I don't generally like to kite. I may like to, I don't know, ambush, try to bow tank, something more applicable to a different cruiser, battleship, destroyer, something like that. You may like to tweak things. So absolutely try things out. Now I went with the 155s in IFHE. I found them incredible. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do my due diligence. So I researched, bought, paid for, equipped the 203 on the Mogami. And they were awful, in my opinion. So I just never got around to selling them. I'll do that now. I have the stock Omaha hull. Let's get rid of that. I have the stock Omaha guns. Also get rid of those. And the stock Omaha fire control system. Get rid of those. Excellent. Alright. Now I have the money. Perfect. Did a little bit of venture capitalist fundraising. And now I will go back to the Ibuki if I can ever find. There it is. I found it. Alright. So, my final decision, and probably one that makes the most impact to your gameplay, is going to be this final slot on Tier 9 and Tier 10. So, most of the time, you're going to be looking at Main Battery Mod 3, and this one, yeah, Gunfire Control System Mod 2. I have no basis for any sort of knowledge on how the Ibuki plays at all. I don't see many streamers play it, I don't see many YouTube videos, and that is precisely why I chose the Ibuki for my video. I don't know anything about how to build her, and I wanted to show you my thought process for how to do it. So, 16% main battery maximum firing range on, I think it was 15? Yes, 15. So that gives me an extra, that'd probably put me out to 17.2, 17.3, something like that, which that is actually really good. However, 15.8 second reload time on my 203s, and I have 10 of them. And that is kind of, let's see, they're 203mm 50 third year type mod E. These guns look suspiciously similar to the Mogamis. 60 third year type, nothing. Oh, those are the, never mind. Those aren't even the right ones. Alright. They do 3300, 4700. That is not good news. I did not like these guns on the Mogami at all. That is just, the reload was just awful. So, and knowing that that's the thing I hated about the 203s the most, is going to lean me towards main battery mod 3, because I want that loading time. 12%, we're sitting at 15.8 right now, so that, I mean, that's going to drop me a significant amount. It's not going to be earth-shattering amount, but it's a, God, this is going to be painful. And this is going to be another thing too, when you're outfitting a new ship that you don't know anything about. You may find some little prize in the litter box, which I just did, and realizing your guns are going to be the Mogami 203s, which you just went through a whole talk about how much you dislike them. So, what are we going to do, guys? Let's skip over that for now. I'm going to leave this up to the viewers, actually. I've narrowed it down to main battery mod 3 to give me the extra loading time, or gunfire control system mod 2. So do me a favor and comment down below. Let me know what you think I should take, and you don't have to tell me why, but I would like to know your reasoning. This is a strategy video, and I'm always open to learning more about strategy, the setting up, the getting ready to fight the opponent, why you want to be set up with the fire control system or the main battery mod. What's your thought process behind it? I would love to hear that. Please comment below. And we're going to leave that as it is and go on to the next. Alright, camouflage. Always, and this is something that has absolutely no exceptions. Always bring camo. There is never a time that you can justify above tier 3 to not bring camo. It's so cheap. Because I mean, look at this. -3 to your detectability range. It's going to drop my detectability range by 300 meters. It's not insignificant. Plus 4 to maximum dispersion of shells fired by the enemy. That means if you don't take it, you're getting 4% more citadels, 4% more penetrations, 4% more overpens, 4% less shatters, 4% less tanking. It's awful. It's effectively a bonus that you give to your enemies by not having camo. Now, every camo is those two as a game-changing ability. Every single camo you ever see that is base, and just run through a few of these and pick them. Just pick them, pick them, pick them. You can see bam, bam, bam. Doesn't matter what camo it is, it will have those two. Now other camos have like XP bonuses, and sure, those they matter because it helps you research things faster and whatever. It doesn't matter to the actual gameplay. The gameplay requires you, if you want to survive, get more XP, get more wins, all that stuff, have more fun, just put camo on. End of story. Alright? So I'm going to put this camo on. Again, enable button. I've also done this. somebody has called me out in-game chat and said, "Hey, where's your camo?" And I was like, "Oh no," because it should be embarrassing. I was like, "Sorry, forgot to click enable." And he's like, "Alright, happens to all of us. '07, have a great day. Remember it next time." I was like, "Roger that." You know, you play a little bit more conservatively when you don't have camo because you are more vulnerable. And then everyone carries on with your day. If you call somebody out for camo and they insist that it's not necessary, don't even engage in talking with that person. The only thing that could happen is they report you because they are wrong. They've decided to be wrong. They don't know that they're wrong, and they cannot be swayed by any sort of logical argument that you can present. Just ignore them. It's going to be frustrating. You're going to see all the time there's going to be these people that like, oh, the classic North Carolina in World War II never had that type of camo, so I'm not going to wear it. Congratulations, buddy. This is not a role-playing game. This is an MMO where your survivability actually impacts the fun the other players on your team have, and you not wearing camo means that everyone has less fun. So it's really just a selfish move. Don't do it. Wear camo, please. Alright. Next, signals. So, there's a lot of people that talk about signals that are necessary, signals they'd like to have. These are more optional because they're not free. Some of them are impossible to get outside of mission completions and actually accomplishing things in game. So I'm not going to tell you how to spend your Juliet Charlie flags. They're special. They're valuable. I tend not to run them on anything that isn't a tier 10, but that's not a hard and fast rule. Like, do what you want with your Juliet Charlie flags. They're money in the bank. Take care of them. Treat them right. Hug them at night. Love them. And they'll love you back. Sorry. I love these flags so much. Alright. The other flags, they give bonuses. Like some, like this one, +5 to your magazine detonation rate. That one gives a detriment. Most of the time it's bonus. These are do what you want with them. They really are. If your only goal is to win the game, the next game that you play, the very next one, then absolutely you should have 8 signal flags equipped at all times, and pick them based on what ship you're in. So we can go back, modules. You see I have heal, I have plane, I have defensive AA. No, my AA's crap, so I'm not taking the November Echo. But if I have a heal, I'm throwing India Delta on. Speed is always good. Not getting detonated, always good. Setting extra fires on a ship that I plan to kite it with, probably a good plan. We'll throw some of those on there. Got my torpedoes. They are 10 kilometers, so I don't think I need extra flooding damage. Or extra flooding chance, sorry. I'll leave that off. Generally, I just try to avoid getting hit at all costs. So I tend not to take these Juliet Yankee flags on anything except a battleship, because there are times your positioning the battleship is required in a torpedo-prone position, and you just will take torpedoes. In cruisers, that's not really the case. You should be able to put yourself in a position to dodge every single time, and every time you take a torp in a cruiser, it's your fault. If you're taking torps in a battleship, sometimes it's just unavoidable. I put myself in positions before, I'm like, I need to hold down this cap. C-cap is vital to our winning. I'm going to put myself in there. I know I'm going to eat at least one torpedo. And when you're playing a battleship where you think that might be a possibility, then put these flags on. Not a problem. Fire flags, I love those on battleships. tend to save them for that. Then you have all your economic and special flags, which I've never played the Ibuki, so I'm not going to put on. Also, auto resupply on this, unlike the other two times, is kind of an option. There are times that you're just wanting to grind out XP, so you like put these 7 flags on. And then you're like, I just want to do one a day, and I don't want to accidentally like spend those flags again, because for me at least, these flags are hard to get. I don't like buying them, so I tend to not hit the auto resupply whenever I have these on. But if I'm just doing this and I'm like, okay, I'm always going to want the extra heal, I'm always going to want to set extra fires, then I'll just hit enable, not a big deal. And then, obviously, the most important part is putting your personal style. I mean, these flags don't do anything, but they look sweet. We always go with the fire rooster, 100% of the time, necessary. And then the other flag, let's see what I feel like today. So, I like the Doge on this one. Let's go with the Doge. Shiba Inu is why I'm putting the Doge flag on there. Because Ibuki, for some reason, the letters just in my mind associate with Shiba Inu. Don't know why, just always has. So we're going with the Doge flag. Awesome. Alright, so now, after that, I go through, put my flags on. That's the last thing I do. Then I go through, and I'm about to click battle, and I'll just go through backwards to see what's going on. So bam, 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 hit my flags, yep, auto enable. Always like to double check my work. Camo, auto resupply enabled. In-game currency is chosen. Resupply cost is at silver. Always go with silver. Don't ever pay for any camo with the balloons. Refillable camos, like the Rasputin camo for the Nikolai is sweet looking. Any of the space camos, they're all permanent. Go nuts with those if you want. Don't buy the refillable camos for doubloons. It's just not worth it in my opinion. Don't do it. Alright, moving on. Enabled. All these are premium. Good to go. Upgrades. And we're still missing that one that, dear viewers, you guys gotta help me with. I don't know what to do. If you played Ibuki before, let me know please. I'm not going to take her out till at least one person comments. Lets me know. Anyway, so now you've gone through my process for setting up a ship. You see, it's kind of a lengthy process, but you're going to enjoy your games more. Putting this level of thought into what you want to do with your ships and focusing on what do you think the ship's good at by looking at the stats, and then going into battle and trying to execute that, and then figuring out, hey, maybe I don't know, maybe the Ibuki's not a kiting cruiser. It would be the first in the line that I've played that's not a kiting cruiser, but it's entirely possible. Never seen anybody in a random battle play it that way. Never seen a streamer play it that way, rarely at the times they do play it. So I'm assuming it's a kiting cruiser, but it could be a bow tank cruiser. No idea. Always be available to change your mindset. Because if this is a bow tank cruiser, then I'm going to have to rip off a bunch of these upgrades, maybe change the consumables. I have no idea what I have to do. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure, if you liked the info I put out, hit like down below. Also, if you want to keep seeing videos from me, this is really important, hit the subscribe button. And hey, fair game. If you see me, try to sit it on me. Get at me. Say hi. I'd love to hear from you guys in game. It'd be great. Anyway, until next time. Fair winds and following seas. This is Tradewind signing out.